he says, oh, we're also going to create jobs. Well, that would be great, except when corporate America makes sure to keep down every race that isn't white. Therefore, when natives apply, when the indigenous people apply for the promised jobs, the HR department can fall back on the old, you don't meet our work history requirements. Because if you go out to Pine Ridge, you are going to see, because it surprised me, even though I had heard, I was surprised at the number of places, the third world, the absolute third world living conditions, right here in America. And we've all seen those commercials where that guy says, for just $10 a month, you can feed little whomever who's playing in the dirty river or trying to catch food in a filthy river, disease-ridden place. Yet, there are no telethons, there are no infomercials about the third world. I was talking recently about how there are documents from British commanders who instruct their officers to give the native people, when they give them clothing or blankets, it was to be from the smallpox section of hospitals to ensure the continued, quote, extirpation of an execrable race. But this repeatedly happens. This is nothing new. I'm going to tell you about another water Native American issue that goes back to 1904. Montana Congressman Joseph Dixon secured the passage of the Flathead Allotment Act, which called for the survey and allotment of the Montana Reservation without the consent of the Indians. Now this sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? Because I believe, the Army Corps of Engineers, who also ironically was involved in this, was granted, but without following the law, without consulting with the leaders of the reservation. Under allotment, each Indian, again, 1904, each Indian family was to be given a parcel of land, and the reservation was to open to non-Indian settlement. Following the allotment, the Indian agent who favored allotment needed an armed guard when traveling on the reservation. Why? Well, to improve farming on the allotted reservation, the government created the Flathead Indian Irrigation Project. As with most Indian irrigation projects, this one was soon delivering water to non-Indian farms. A national report on Indian irrigation projects released in 1929 showed that the number of Indian land irrigated and use had declined. Well, no wonder. They were set up to fail, just like every treaty the United States has ever made with any of the first people. Every one has been broken. So the use of the land and the use of the irrigation by the natives had declined. And while the cost of constructing the irrigation projects had been charged to the Indians, non-Indian farmers had been the primary beneficiaries of these projects. This, my friends, is the white way. It's just as alive today as it was then. There is, near Federal Dam, Minnesota, a great place, the only place I have been that I can truly call home. There's a little getaway called Sugar Point Resort. It is owned and operated by a white family who acquired the land from the reservation by whatever means, bought it, whatever, leased it, whatever. An elder friend of mine who lived directly next to the resort was repeatedly told by the resort owner that he was going to cause him problems because my respected elder friend was, quote, dropping nets on the lake. Now, being from Kentucky, at that time, I had not heard that term of dropping nets. It's referred to here as seining, in which you find a good spot of flowing water and you literally take a net and stretch it across a creek or a river to catch the fish. It is illegal here. And it's illegal in many, many places as a form of fishing. However, you see, the natives have certain rights on what's supposed to be their land, such as dropping nets, ricing, in which you go out and get wild rice. And I had the opportunity to go and photograph and actually get to do this. If you're white, you have to buy a permit to do it. You know, the same with collecting wood, hunting, whatever else, dropping nets. It's a very neat process, actually, because I looked at, because we lived in a house that was right on the lake, and each day I would look out on the lake and just be fascinated, because in the distance there was Bear Island, a most enchanting place that I did not get to visit, but it was there, and it was actually a treacherous. You could go out in the winter when the lake was frozen, 10, 12, 15 feet thick to walk, but it's still a good walk. But this dropping of nets, let me get back here, is you literally stretch out a large net that are held up. They're supported by meticulously cleaned jugs of different things. You know, most often people use something that's biodegradable or bio-safe, environmental friendly. And I was looking out the window and I kept seeing this jug for like 2 days floating in the same spot. And I'm like, what is this? That's when I got to go out in the boat and help pull in the net. And man, were there fish. I don't even remember how many there were. So many. But nothing goes to waste because over that period of a couple days, as I said, many fish are caught in the net. And they are shared by friends and family on the reservation. Here's the glitch. Despite that being solely a native right to the Ojibwe, the resort owner harassed my friend because the nets, he believed, were affecting the local fishing, which of course was the key element of his business. Anytime guests at the resort complained of catching very few fish, the owner immediately blamed the natives. Never mind the fact that when you have lakefront property there, you agree that you will in no way alter the shoreline. Yet this guy had equipment brought in and dug out slips from dollars exchanged, or he's simply white and he gets away just like corporate America with the lack of honor and respect to the earth. We must refrain, you see, from believing. And it is difficult. It is very difficult when you think about the atrocities that this country has committed for the sole purpose of gaining profit. This country has sworn to commit a genocide on the indigenous people of this continent, just like practically every other government has done to the indigenous people of their lands. It is, again, as I said, difficult to find the faith in which we must place in ourselves as a one people, that we all are absolutely related. And we as a people cannot demand. This is what we have to refuse to believe. And actually, we cannot refuse. We cannot demand and actually achieve a state where the government actually works for its people, not their pockets. Electing Trump, this country will soon see, was a mistake. This is just my knowledge and belief that we can cause enough of a change in our government that the value of the planet is much higher than it has been in the last 60 years. For the time being, this is our only home, this little blue planet. In your mind, encrypted on your very DNA, are the codes by which you can proceed to be the seed of change. Proceed, my friends, with caution. We are in the midst of darker days and black serpents. That's all I'm going to talk about for tonight. Again, I'm going to get an interview very soon about what needs to change in this state regarding the animal cruelty laws. So I hope you stay tuned to all the news that matters at the Socratic Method page on Facebook. Be sure to get your New Year's resolutions in check with the fine products from Kendall Wade. Check her out on Facebook, Kendall Wade, at wrapawayinbliss.itworks.com, because we all, again, make those resolutions every year, and we almost always fail, you know. wrapawayinbliss.itworks.com. And always strive to be the change you wish to see in the world. For better or for worse, I remain Saint Kirill and wish you a pleasant evening.